Hey everyone, my name is Ronak back with another episode. Welcome to the 7th episode in the Let's Talk series. Today the guest of honor is Mr. Chintan Popat. He is currently in the final semester of Master's Program in Cybersecurity Major at NYIT, USA. He has worked as a cybersecurity mentor at Cisco amidst his MS. He is skilled in ethical hacking, incident management, penetration testing, strategic planning, and disaster recovery. He is currently elected as the president of the Graduate Students Association at NYIT. He was the technical head of the Students' Council and the president of the IT Students Association in his undergrad. He has also been the winner of Smart India Hackathon. So, this podcast is not only on the YouTube but also in the audio formats on Spotify and Anchor. Links to those will be down in the description box. There are also timestamps available for the YouTube video in the description box as well. If you like my content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow my podcast on Spotify. So, let us now get started with the podcast. Hope you all enjoy it. So, hey Chintan, how are you?
I'm good. How are things with you?
Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, so I have a set of generic questions related to your current status, and we will go through each and every single one of them one by one. So the
Sure.
first question that I tend to ask everyone is that at the moment, what are you doing?
So currently, I'm in the final semester of my master's in cybersecurity, and I'm looking for a job. And yeah, that's it. I'm also preparing for my CISA exam these days.
Mm-hmm. And you are pursuing a master's course, MS course in the US. So
Yeah.
what I would like to ask you, what was the motivation to pursue the MS?
So first things first, we all know, like you, me, we all know the compensation the IT working people get in India. That's not fair. And another thing is that the IT system in the industry in India is very skewed towards those who are willing to work for less. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't want good quality workers. The if even if you just sit in office and kill time, that's fine. As long as you work the hours, that matters. That's what they want. So yeah, and also the approach in US and the technology they use over here is very progressive than what they use back home. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
of those things.
Yeah, and considering your current field of interest, so this is about the cybersecurity. So you are pursuing the MS in cybersecurity. So there are many areas in the CS. So why, what was the motivation to select cybersecurity as your major?
Right. So okay, so let me explain things in a way. So first I attended a SQL injection workshop when I was in my diploma program.
Mm-hmm.
So during that phase, I was very, like I was learning its and bits of cybersecurity, and it got me thinking that for this, I'll have to think out of the box the entire time. You get
Mm-hmm.
it? So that is one of the main factors. And of course, now that data science and all that's come in, you need to think out of the box. And but with I knew that for a living, I could never do the programming 9 to 5 thing. Like I like doing as a pastime, and I like making projects on it,
Mm-hmm.
but like I could never do this full time. Like that's not what my passion is, even though I'm good at it, I'm very good at it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not what my passion is. So I was done with development, so I was looking for the next big thing for me, and that's when cybersecurity came in. And I think I was 17 when yeah, 17 when I started.
Mm-hmm.
I got to my C8 certification in the very same year,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's how my journey. And the thing is that cybersecurity demands a lot from you. Like, let me give you an instance. If I cannot be a cybersecurity person.
Mm-hmm.
I can be a pen tester. I can be a forensics analyst. I can be, there
Oh.
are so many roles. There are business. There is not one sector in IT that doesn't touch with cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud, there's cybersecurity. Big nowadays, big data cybersecurity is very trending.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is forensics, of course. Then there is the management, like those who work in the operations of the industry of the company.
Mm-hmm.
They also need security, like nowadays. So that's why there's CISOs and the protocols and everything. Finance has its own set of the if Even the CAs, like they manage compliance and they do auditing. There's cybersecurity audits now.
Hmm.
It's been for a long time, so now you have to comply those audits like CA and CPS used to do. Now they have
Hmm.
to make cybersecurity audits too. So there's not one field that doesn't touch cybersecurity. It's all about application development. But of course, development has its own touch with. It's very generic IT, so it will have touch with cybersecurity,
Hmm.
like code security. So every, like, there is so many places to apply cybersecurity to.
Hmm. Yeah, so cybersecurity in itself is a broad field that you are saying.
Very very broad field.
So you will have to work in a particular specialization. So not necessarily you will be called a cybersecurity person, but you will
Right,
be segregated into different areas.
right, right.
Hmm. So now the other question that I have is, so this is like the most, I would say, asked question. So what was the
Mhm.
difference you really felt in the education system when you were in India and now in the
Mhm.
US? So what was the I would say a major change that you came across?
I think the first thing is that the focus over here is not about, okay, I in a way, like, professors should be respected and that thing, but the in India it's like professor and student, but here
Hmm.
it's like professor and student. Like, this thing is there. Like, if
Hmm.
student gives a bad rating, it affects the professor and he'll not be allowed to, come back for next semester. It's like,
Oh.
very freelancing kind of thing, unless very few professors are full time over here.
Hmm.
And they have this thing in India where even if those adjunct faculties or temp faculties
Hmm.
usually teach in one college only, 9 to 5,
Hmm.
same thing, but they just don't have the permanent lease. The only difference is the paperwork that a full time and a part time faculty has. That's the only
Hmm.
difference. But over here, if I'm a part time faculty in the morning or in the evening till evening 5 o'clock, I'll be a CISO in a company. I could be a professor full time in another college. That
Hmm.
could happen, but in India, that's but in US, that's very, it's very different, the both places. Another thing is that the professors just don't care. If you know your thing, if you know your thing and you turn up for the exams and you prove that you know, it's fine.
Hmm.
They don't care. Okay,
Hmm.
there are different professors everywhere, but that's one of the things I've seen. And I've seen, like, okay, if there's a lecture in India, it's like everyone should be focused. You cannot break the focus of the professor.
Hmm.
Is that in US, even if in middle of lecture you feel like you want to take a smoke, you can go outside and smoke. Okay, I don't smoke, but I'm just
Oh.
saying. Yeah, you can
Hmm.
just go outside. Professor won't ask you anything, no questions asked. You can just get up and go.
Hmm.
You want to eat food, I've seen people, like, we used to have lectures at 9 to 11, or sorry,
Hmm.
8:30 to 11.
Hmm.
So that used to be a, you have attended all the lectures all day, and sometimes we have lectures from 5 to 8, 3 hour lecture, and then 8 to 11.
Hmm.
So that's a long time. So I've seen people, even I've done it, like, I have food in the middle of the lecture, professor is teaching, having food, and it's very casual, like,
Hmm.
it's like, and we have a lot of internal students. So when the local student, then when they start eating, and it's your first lecture, you're like, what is he doing? Like, and the professor won't even say anything.
Hmm.
This is the craziest story I've seen. Like, once, one student, like, they were sitting behind me,
Hmm.
and they were like, "You want to sit for the lecture?" And he was like, "So over here they mostly take attendance in the beginning of the lecture, so they had already taken the attendance, and
Hmm.
that's just for just a formality. It doesn't affect your grades much." So
Hmm.
attendance was done, and they were like, "You want to go?" And I think it was a Friday lecture, so
Hmm.
they were like, "Yeah, let's leave." And they just, like, 30 minutes in the lecture, they just left. And when I was going home, I was checking my Instagram stories, and they were at a club 30 minutes later in the lecture. And they were like, "Done. Yeah, we'll study this later. No problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah." I've seen all kinds of things. So as long as you can get things done, as
Hmm.
long as you believe in yourself, individualism, you can get things done, and you know your thing. No one would bother you. Anything.
Hmm. Kind of strange, I would say, because it is completely opposite in the India.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Also, also the weird thing, like, even in undergrad, I've seen in India, Like, call your parents.
Yes.
Why? Why? I'm above 18 years of age. I'm responsible for my own. Why should parents be called? If I don't study, if I get bad grades, then I'll be a loser in life. It's on me.
And the best justifiable answer that they have is that they are paying your fees. So we are going to call your parents.
So they're paying my fees because they are my parents. It's on them. It's like between me and them. Okay, if I get bad grades, then they will let me know. Like,
Hmm.
it's between us.
Hmm.
What's it with you? Personally, I'm not really, those kind of people, who just bunks class for the fun of it or anything. But
Hmm.
it doesn't make any sense, if I don't want to attend a lecture, if I know these things. And uh, and sometimes I've seen professors teach utter shit. Teach.
Hmm.
There are very, very good professors. During my Bagubai time, I've seen like really great professors. Like, if those professors weren't there in my life, I wouldn't be 1% of what I am right now.
Hmm.
Shout out to them. But during uh, the basic very PHP, even if you know very basic PHP,
Hmm.
one professor argued with me that the syntax for echo was dollar echo for PHP, and I told him that if you can run this, okay, if you can run this statement, I'll do whatever you want. You can give me a zero if you want. If you can run this statement, and then
Hmm.
he was like, "You are disrespecting me." And the whole conversation went over there. And in US, if this thing would happen, and if this thing would go to the head of department, the professor could be fired. The thing goes,
Oh.
yeah. And also one of the things, like in India, they encourage plagiarism. Like,
Hmm.
it's all like, by assignment copy kar lo, get things
Hmm.
done. It's
Hmm.
all about that. It's boring paper. Professors know that you have copied it from somewhere. Everyone knows that, everyone is just, even if professors give you copies sometimes, that, just copy this and write. Why
Hmm.
do we need to fill up a piece of paper for what?
Exactly.
Just because department says so, it doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
Over here, if you copy a single statement from
Hmm.
anywhere, you're
Hmm.
done. You can get rusticated from the college if you copy a single statement.
Oh.
My friend, he had a whole program, and the thing was that there was some functionality that needed a loop
Hmm.
for brute forcing. Yeah, he had made a script, and in there was a part which was used to brute force the login page. It was a very
Hmm.
minor component in there, but he had taken that from GitHub
Hmm.
to add the attribution to that, the link to
Hmm.
that. He was given a zero for that assignment,
Hmm.
and he was taken to the head of department for that. Like, he was taken to the dean, for not even the head of department. I'm sorry, he was taken to the
Hmm.
dean,
Oh.
and he was given a warning, like, if this happens again, he'll get a zero. But he was like, it was a very innocent mistake. I agree to that, and
Hmm.
then let go of. And then later on in class, he got A, but that's another subject. But they take these things very seriously over here,
Hmm.
very seriously. Like, very, you need a brain of your own. You cannot be a yes sir person and just get things done.
Yeah, so you need to assess the things by yourself. You
Yeah,
cannot
true.
just copy the stuff. But
Right.
I can refer the stuff if I want. That is
Yeah, you
allowed.
can refer, as long as you can use the same thing,
Hmm.
and you can be like, I got this statement from so. In the end, they need references,
Hmm.
citations. They need that. If you
Hmm.
don't give that, you're done. If I don't give citation, it means that I am telling this. It means that I got this from somewhere. Like, my brain thought of this, which it didn't.
Now I would like to ask you about your ex Cisco experience. Okay, so you were in Cisco as a mentor. So
Mhm.
I would like to ask you that what was the work that you were doing over there?
I got this job when I just landed in US.
Hmm.
But the thing was that due to multiple reasons, because we were international students and they needed security clearance, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So it took a while to get the job started. But when we did, it was a very different experience. Over here, there's this thing called public school and private school. Like, for
Hmm.
instance, for just to give an equivalent of that, if I were to tell you that SSC board and
Hmm.
IB board, or those kinds of boards. So
Hmm.
Eh, Public schools over here are called, the SSC boards of US.
Hmm.
There may be rich kids, but most likely you will not find them. In India, you may find rich kids in SSC, but you won't find. But over here, you won't find like very rich kids in public schools.
Hmm.
So, and this school was in Bronx, which is
Hmm.
a not so developed part of New York.
Hmm.
So over there, there was this kids from underprivileged backgrounds,
Hmm.
and we were teaching them cybersecurity.
Oh.
So Cisco had its own has its own Cisco networking academy, and where they have tools and everything. And then there they also have this thing where they've given a list of things they want the kids to know to assist them. So we used to teach them lots of things. First objective was to teach them networking and all those basic things.
Hmm.
Then we later moved on to manage the middle attack and all those things, aspect of
Hmm.
security, which was a
Hmm.
very minor area of that of what we taught, but most of our focus was on Cisco. Basically, at the end of the program, I could vouch that they could clear the CCN exam.
Hmm.
So yeah, and the approach over here was very also very nice. The networking academy they had created, Cisco networking academy. It
Hmm.
was it was like nothing I've seen before. They had gamified the whole networking academy experience. Like you there's a router and wire and you put drag it over there. Okay, this cable doesn't go because it's a different kind of aux and all those things. That was my main objective over there, teaching kids about networking and cybersecurity.
Nice. Yeah, so now let me ask you about some things that are related to the application of MS in US.
Mhm.
So the first one comes to everyone's mind after grades is extracurriculars. So
Mhm.
do extracurriculars hold some or the other weightage while applying for the MS in the US?
Depends on where you're going. It's not about extracurriculars or anything. It's over in good colleges, of course. Let me give you like Cornell or those kinds of colleges. They look for a
Mm-hmm.
story. Where do you come from? What do you have done? How passionate are you about things?
Mm-hmm.
You may be a rich kid, but if you are very passionate about things, they take it as a plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about okay, I could not be a privileged kid, and so I could not do many things which I want to, but I have a passion for it. And if I show in it in ways like on
Mm-hmm.
in whatever ways I could do it,
Mm-hmm.
it may not be great sometimes. It may be projects or any minor things I have done. They would take it
Mm-hmm.
as a plus. Of course, you need grades to go into good colleges. That's a first thing is grades.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go into very good colleges, then you also need curricular part,
Mm-hmm.
projects, and all those things.
And now coming to you, the NYIT itself. So
Mhm.
like in the now you are in your final semester. So I would like to ask you some of the memorable experiences that you had in the last 2 years. It can be anything like related to the extracurriculars or let's say academics.
The first thing, my college is very different from the traditional US college experience
Mm-hmm.
because my college is in middle of Manhattan. That's like
Mm-hmm.
my college is on 59th and the Times Square is on 42nd. That's like 10 streets away, 10
Mm-hmm.
blocks away from the Times Square. So it's very, we don't have a campus, we don't have a gym, we don't have that, the college pride thing that other colleges have. So my experience would be very different from the what you will hear of. And I think the other another part about studying in my college, it may be different. I don't know. It may be same in other colleges too. Is that in the age of the students over here, it doesn't matter. Like the in India we have a like game plan,
Mm-hmm.
MBA. Then after engineering, then there is options like IAS, MBA, or this. Then
Mm-hmm.
from here, this. Then from here, analyst, then manager, then this, then this, then this.
Mm-hmm.
And no, over here it doesn't work that way. Like you could be 30,
Okay.
you could be 45.
Mm-hmm.
People have joined classes. I had classmates who were in the military,
Mm-hmm.
and then the military paid for it, and so that's why they were like, "Hell, military is paying for it, so let's go to class."
Oh.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
like people are very passionate about things over here. They do. Also, the thing is that is in India, it's about money. I'm not saying it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things we do, we have to put food on the table. That's why we do it.
Exactly.
Over here, even if you work a very minimal job,
Mm-hmm.
you can earn like good money. Even if you work a small time job of at a store clerk or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
you can make a good living, like decent living. You can live a decent life. One vacation a year, simple life, good food, everything.
Mm.
But it's very difficult to do so in India. That's why that's where the competitive thing comes in.
And now I would like to ask you a question relating to your volunteering experience. So in undergrad, you have been actively volunteering in the many events. Even I have seen it.
Mhm.
So is the same case now? Are you even volunteering in the US in like in the NYIT, some sort of
Yeah.
volunteering?
So currently, I'm the president of Graduate Students Association,
Mm.
and like my role over there is what the graduate students need. So whether it be job fair, whether it be hackathons, this that. So you over here, the challenge for me is that earlier in India, I knew what people wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so let me give an instance. Like, I was the technical secretary of my college,
Mm.
but engineering. So I know like what kind of if we have a yearly engineering based event, so I know what things to be done. Like civil would want this, electrical engineering would want this, mix would want this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, robo or all that. Those things. You know what you want. You know what each team wants, but now where the whole sphere is a different. Now the management has come in. Now there's a school of architecture. Now
Mm.
there's this school. Now there's that school. They also need career services.
Oh.
Everyone jumps in, so you have like so many aspects to manage.
Mm.
You have to think about a lot of people when you're organizing events. You have 2 years, but a lot of mouths to speak about. Like they want their things heard, and they want. Okay, if I was IT person, and if there was a non-IT person who was a president of GSA or any other,
Mm.
like any other holding any other office,
Mm.
responsible for organizing. If I were to explain to him what a hackathon would be and to organize it, then he would be like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this.
Oh.
If he would be a same management person, but coming in with IT, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I try my best to like if someone from School of Architecture comes in and they try to explain that we want this kind of events or we want this kind of
Mm.
facilities, then we try to talk to college about it, and that's my role over there.
Oh. Yeah, so now you talked even about the hackathon. So now let us move on to your hackathon experience itself. So you have been a winner of the Smart India Hackathon.
Mhm.
So tell us about the experience, like the winning experience, and how was the overall experience, I would say.
I think SIH is a very good, like one of the best initiatives I've seen from the government of India so far.
Mm-hmm.
Because, but let me tell you the plus sides, like, the good things. I'll tell you the bad things at the last.
Mm.
So the first thing is that very great organization, very, I see a lot of innovative projects over there and that
Mm.
thing. But first problem is that the okay, why do I get to the bad points first? So yeah, let me tell you about the first two experiences that we didn't win. So
Mm.
over there we had created very very good projects. I
Okay.
think the one of the projects in the second year it was that we had created the name of the project was Damn It,
Okay.
and that was sometimes there's this reservoir over here, a dam over
Mm-hmm.
here,
Mm.
and then they attach bells and whistles over here,
Okay.
alarms over here down the
Mm.
stream.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a very wide riverbed, so
Okay.
even if you have the alarm, it's fine,
Mm. Mm.
and they can accommodate that. It's fine. But sometimes what happens is that the water flow in a wide bed, they can that it can take that heavy water coming the wide bed, but
Mm-hmm.
down the stream when the water level, the amount of water is same, but
Mm.
the riverbed may not be that wide, so
Mm-hmm.
there might be flooding over there. And also
Oh.
it's like 15 kilometers down the stream, so
Oh.
you need another alarms for those.
Mm.
And if the dam water is going to break, so bloody hell, you'll manage over here, but what about the things ahead? How you'll manage that? If the river
Okay.
is long running, so how
Hmm.
are you gonna announce everywhere that the water is gonna be released? So just get away from there.
Hmm.
For that, we had created an app that everyone in the vicinity of the riverbed,
Hmm.
they would automatically get a notification that just go away from the riverbed because there is water coming in. Excellent project, fully working, good
Hmm.
engineering,
Hmm.
but why we didn't win? Not great presentation. Like not
Oh.
even the UI presentation, but the PPT. Not even
Hmm.
PPT. PPT was also perfect. Let me
Okay.
not take away from the guy who created the PPT. PPT was also absolutely perfect. That guy works at Google right now. So
Oh.
yeah, so that PPT was absolutely perfect.
Hmm.
Why? We had been coding all day, all night for more
Hmm.
than 24 hours, and by the time the thing happened, we were dead tired.
Yes.
So we couldn't, our presentation as a person, like talking about it, we didn't do it perfectly. That's why we lost.
Hmm.
Had that project been implemented,
Hmm.
the Kerala, the flood have happened like couple of years ago, the dam water broke and everything.
Yes.
Had created that project 3 months before the thing happened. Had the government of India or anything recognized the project, there would be many lives.
Hmm.
First year was very learning experience, like what they want, and in the second year I knew what the game is over here.
Hmm.
Like I understood what they want.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in the second year, I think that's when we met, and I think we met after the second year of hackathon, and
Hmm.
we were going for the third one. That's when we met.
Yes.
So in the third year, we had created a project wherein it was a very simple project. Like there's this company called BEML, Bharat Earth Miners Limited, and they
Hmm.
wanted a call support system. So everyone in the
Okay.
engineering, every we had computers from IITs and everything, bits,
Hmm.
and there were four teams. One was IIT, one was bits, and there was another good college from Chennai, and then there was us.
Hmm.
And our whole the team. In the team, we had two girls who were
Hmm.
just there for creating presentations and filling. Also they had a quota that you
Ah.
need
Yes.
minimum one girl on the SIH team.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we were like, let's take two, why not two?
Hmm.
So then we had two girls with us, and we had told them that this is your they were also from, I think they were in the second year of engineering. So we had all seen that, like when we were in second year of engineering, when we went to hackathons, our
Hmm.
objective was to learn. In
Hmm.
third year was to implement, and fourth year was to lead. It's a very
Hmm.
basic protocol that we have for.
Yes.
So they were from the. It's not that because they were girls. It's because they were juniors, like in the second year,
Hmm.
and they didn't
Hmm.
know anything to implement.
Hmm.
That's why we were like, we'll take you along, no problem. Just
Hmm.
learn, try to learn things. And in this, by the time they went for the next hackathon, they were actually programming, so it's good. So we had called them for presentation, and the guys who were in the year before as the juniors, like in the
Hmm.
second years, now they were in third year and they were with us programming. So there was me, Karan, and there was other two, Bhavin, and there was another guy, and we all four were in the programming team. So I
Hmm.
told them, don't try to focus on the back end much. We need to
Hmm.
create functions as much, and it should not work, but it should look like it should work.
Hmm.
Let me repeat that: it should not work. It should
Hmm.
look like it should work.
Hmm.
So let me give you an example. Like our SMS sending API was working in the year before perfectly, but now it was giving us problems. So
Hmm.
what we did was that we told one of our mentors to just go and use the restroom, and he was
Hmm.
like, okay. And then we
Hmm.
told him that whenever the mentor comes, like whenever the company guy comes, and we'll just present them, but when we send you an SMS, just
Hmm.
reply by this. So that guy is sitting in the restroom, our mentor, and we had sent him an SMS that the query number and this, and we
Hmm.
automatically got an SMS response. But that was him typing manually. It was not,
Hmm.
it was not a thing. But the thing is that you need to hack. That's a hackathon.
Yeah.
You need to just get things done by nail and wire. It should just stay
Hmm.
there. It's not
Yes.
perfectly like a product. You're not creating a product. You are creating a just a
Prototype.
thing, a
Hmm.
prototype. Yeah, that's what a thing.
Hmm.
And that's what people fail to understand. In the
Mm.
first two hackathons, we had killed it. I haven't slept for the whole 36 or whatever hours they had. 36
Mm.
hours, yeah. I hadn't slept for a single hour in the first two hackathons, and in the third hackathon, I was sleeping for like maybe 9 or 10 hours, and that weirdly that was the hackathon we won.
Mm. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it is about the presentation. Yeah, it
it is
does
about
matter.
presentation. It is about it is about the logic too. Like those guys, they were not listening to what the BML guys wanted.
Mm.
They were creating those whole AI and data ML and so many things. Okay, so
Mm.
let me give an instance. Like they wanted to the number of call for support to reduce. So they
Mm.
were creating this automatic AI uh, bots which would automatically answer the phone and help them and give a this thing that you talk to them and whole thing.
Mm.
First of all, that's very resource expensive, and
Yes.
there's it's too much engineering for government employee to understand.
Yes.
Like if yeah, I'm not
Mm.
like no disrespect, but they're very of a different age, and technology has
Yes,
moved on
yes.
so much. Then they are not technology. If they're not tech guys, they're
Mm.
operations guys. They know how to operate the environment, but they don't know how to work the IT.
Mm.
So what we had created, so I just went to the mentor and the company mentor, and I was asking him that what what is the query that you get the most? Like,
Mm.
is it after the installation of your resources, or is it before the installation of the resources? And he's like, for downloading and installing the resources, for those guys is the most difficult because they need JDK and .NET libraries and all that.
Mm.
So it's if you're a 52-year-old man running a mining company, and you have to
Mm.
download all of that, and install all of that and submit your tenders for that, it's very difficult
Mm.
because you
Yes.
don't know what Java is, you don't know what .NET is.
Mm.
So what we did was, instead of making the whole managing the whole what we say, the need for
Processes.
support, no,
Mm.
yeah, the need for support, we eliminated the whole need of support for that. We created a bat file which would
Mm.
automatically download all the Java libraries, all the .NET libraries, everything that was needed to run their software.
Mm.
One click install, everything done.
Mm.
So when they saw that particular program, and then they were like, leave your whole platform aside,
Mm.
just give us this, just
Oh.
give us this. This is all we need. They
Mm.
didn't need anything else. They were like, just give us this, and 99% of our problems would be solved. So even if you just
Okay.
listen to what they have to say,
Mm.
instead of just pushing your product that you have made and what you're passionate about. Okay, I
Mm.
agree that you have created it with a lot of efforts. Understandable, but that's not what they want.
Mm. They basically want ease of functionality.
True.
Yes. Even we committed the same mistake in the Smart India Hackathon. We were actually focusing much more on the back end, and the front
Hmm.
end was literally left behind.
uh,
So that was the detrimental part, I would say. And our presentation was good and everything, but the app that was more good looking one at the end. So that was the time I realized that the UI matters and not the backend functionalities.
True.
Hmm.
Also, it's not about the backend functionality that should work. It should look like it should work. Like if you click from one button to second,
Hmm.
even if you attach a fake JavaScript, or even if you like hack your program to run a certain way, like if the calculator is if you're making a calculator, it should not actually calculate, but on the press of equal to, it should
Hmm.
directly give result of 12. When the judge comes, you automatically like 6 plus 6 and enter, and the judge will see, oh, okay, it's 12, calculator is
Hmm.
working. But even if they type 89 plus 45, it will
Hmm.
again show 12. So don't let them play with it, just present, move on quick. That's the whole
Hmm.
game over there in hackathon.
Like I would say, yours in your case, the realization was quite early because the time we realized that all these things are going to come into picture, our graduation was over. So there was nothing left. At that time, now even when I guide someone for hackathon, I even tell them this: and for use your whole manpower on the front end, and the back end
True.
can be very lightweight. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
True.
Mm. Now, considering the fact as a cybersecurity person, so in the beginning itself, you said that the jobs are very specific. But let us now
Hmm.
compare the jobs, the security jobs in the US and India. So, what
Hmm.
are the prominent differences that you feel that are there?
In India, it's all about talking big,
Hmm.
and in India and in US, I think it's about showing big, like actually showcasing like what you can do. Like,
Hmm.
let me give an instance. Like one of the best hackers in India, Ankit Fadia.
Hmm.
This is a this is a joke. Like India is one of the leading IT powerhouses of the world,
Hmm.
and India's most famous hacker,
Hmm.
Ankit Fadia, he got an award for the biggest charlatan. Charlatan, it means like a fake person, like who
Hmm.
doesn't know, but he tries to imitate that he knows and tries to fool people out of it. He got the
Hmm.
best charlatan award at the DEF CON, which is like the world's biggest cybersecurity conferences, like
Hmm.
the top notch,
Hmm.
and being recognized on an international scale as a
Hmm.
charlatan. That's something of itself.
Hmm.
So in India, I've seen like lot of people, lots and lots of people. I don't want to give. I gave one name, but there are people I've worked with personally, and I know them on a personal basis.
Hmm.
But those people, they don't know anything. Like they don't know C of cybersecurity.
Oh.
They couldn't type a single line of code for the living.
Oh.
Like
Hmm.
if there was gun to their head, they couldn't type a single line of code. Those kind of people. It's not about even code. Like they don't even know the core ethic, like core cybersecurity things. But they
Hmm.
pretend they know, and they have gotten places like where they shouldn't have. I
Hmm.
recently saw one of those people I'm talking about.
Hmm.
They had posted that he was giving training
Hmm.
to the Indian Army.
Oh.
And I was like,
Hmm.
how did he get to reach there? He doesn't know anything about cybersecurity. He lies. He lies
Hmm.
and lies about cybersecurity.
Hmm.
I've seen him. That guy. He. This was at conference in. I think it was when I was in my second year of engineering.
Hmm.
So there was this education event held, and he was called over there for telling the kids about cybersecurity. And he told, "I'm not lying. I can give you
Hmm.
names of people who are the proof over there.
Hmm.
My friends and people I met over there."
Hmm.
That guy told us that
Hmm.
he had created an application, and he has a dedicated server for what? Let me tell
Hmm.
you. You know the Facebook login and the password page. So he
Hmm.
tells us that if any one of you can give me your
Hmm.
email ID, I'll fill it over there, and we have a dedicated server to brute force the password of the password field. This is Facebook. They have world's best engineer. Your brute force attack would be blocked in zero point 0.5 seconds.
Ah.
And this guy is teaching cybersecurity to the Indian Army. Imagine that.
Oh God.
And then there are genuine people who want to reach out to the government. The
Hmm.
government websites have biggest flaws,
Hmm.
and they don't want to. They don't have a bug bounty program. They don't want
Okay.
to hear us out. And when at the end of the day they get hacked, we
Hmm.
get shamed on an international level. So
Oh
it's
yes.
a complete chaos. The MTNL thing.
Hmm.
Then there's lots of Indian websites that get hacked every day, gov.in or anything.
Hmm.
I personally have got into one of those gov website.
Hmm.
I sent out an email to the CM of the state, the whole board of that committee,
Hmm.
everyone. No, not one person responded. I reached them out on Twitter. I reached them out everywhere, but nobody responded to that.
Hmm.
And later, like 6 months later, I think if they acknowledge what I have done,
Hmm.
they'll have to admit to what like what went down. So instead of
Yes.
covering up on that, what they did was that they hired someone,
Hmm.
a very pricey company. I think it was Norton. They hired
Hmm.
Norton, and they fixed those things, but they wouldn't acknowledge that a 16 or 17-year-old compromises security, such a city security that they have. And the Indian cybersecurity space is not focused on research.
Hmm.
Our focus is on just getting things done.
Hmm.
Just
That
as
is
long
in
as
all
it's,
of the areas of CS. You can
yeah,
take any area. It is about what your product is. Even in the machine learning, I have seen it. So not research oriented. Like research is not funded, I would say, in particular. The
true.
way it should have been. Like in the
Also,
US, it is like on the
mm,
very high level, the funding. Even recently, I had this podcast with one of the guys from the University of Maryland. He also said that
mhm,
the level of the amount of the funding that you get in the universities in the US is way beyond our imagination.
true,
Mm.
true. Like, I know someone who was in who got uni funding from Cali. I think it was university in Cali,
Mm.
and his salary was, I think, 120
Mm.
with housing, with a car, and all those things.
Mm.
So, okay, 120 for Cali is okay. It's like,
Yes.
it's very good for, if I will compare to that to India, it's like 10-12 lakh salary. It's not like
Mm.
you cannot go directly, okay, 12 120K in US to, no, it doesn't work
Yes.
that way. But if in India, it would be like a 10-12 lakh package. But 10
Mm.
12 lakh for a research is very good.
Yes.
Also, the another thing in India I've seen is that even if the research what it goes on, sometimes it's very plagiarized, and it's something that's been done before,
Mm.
and they just try to play it off. Okay, this is something new.
Mm.
This is not even in like local colleges. I've seen this in IITs and good places.
Mm.
Like, they just try to manipulate what they have done, and it's not something that the industry may or may not require, but
Mm.
it's something like, already that tech exists, and they're just making an application, or just funneling what already exists. It's not something new.
Mm. Exactly. Yeah, so now I would like to ask you about the cultural differences that you have came across after being in the US for last 2 years. So what were these some shocking cultural differences that you felt that
Mhm.
are kind of like considered stereotypical in India and in the
Mhm.
US? So the major differences that you came across.
I think, let me address this. Like, even when I was sitting in India,
Mm-hmm.
people think like, first of all, there's crazy money over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. There's no crazy money. There's good
Mm-hmm.
money. There's no
Mm-hmm.
crazy money. Like, even if those good money, you have to earn, like, work hard for it. There's
Mm-hmm.
no free lunch anywhere, even in
Oh.
US.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and another thing is like, people think the dating culture is very different in US, and like, we like, everyone just bounces on each other. No, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work anywhere in the world. It doesn't work
Mm-hmm.
that way. And then another thing is that, like, the main thing is that people not attached to titles and the compensation much. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
does. People do want it, but it's not big of a factor. People would not sell their soul for it.
Oh.
Like in India, it's all about titles.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, it almost becomes a competition. It almost becomes a game.
Mm-hmm.
The higher you are, the bigger car you have, the better job you have, the more money you earn, the happier you are. Over here, and you realize, no, it doesn't matter what car you drive or how big of a house you have. No,
Mm-hmm.
like, individualism is a very big focus over here. That's what I like the most about US. And also, people don't. It's also a good thing and a bad thing in a way that we're not socially much connected. It's a good thing because it's a bad thing because, sometimes people tend to get alone, and mental issues can start to occur.
Yes.
But those aunties or those uncles who try to,
Mm-hmm.
just try to poke their noses into your life, that's something that you get rid of when you're over here. Like, nobody cares about what grades you got in 10th grade, or
Mm-hmm.
no. They have SATs over here.
Mm-hmm.
But when the results of SATs come over, they don't, the relatives don't call over here that, oh, what score did you get, or no, it's fine, whatever you got, good luck.
Mm-hmm. So
In
basically,
India,
everyone is
India,
minding their
like,
own business.
yeah, yeah, in India, like, even before you know your result, people will ask you your hall ticket number then and your birth of date. They already know your relatives. They'll ask for your hall ticket number and they'll themselves try to, look up your what grade did you get. They
Hmm.
themselves want to know before even you know.
Yes.
So it's in India, it's all about competition and no, it over here doesn't matter. Over the
Mm-hmm.
character, individualism, it's very top notch.
And now let us talk a little bit about the environment. Okay, so after being in India for so long, so how long did it took for you to get accustomed to the not even the cultural differences, but also the environment or the place that you're staying at, like that?
Okay, personally, it was not a big of a shock to me because my parents were already in US for almost
Mm-hmm.
11 years.
Hmm.
So it was not like that much of a big difference that like it's not like I didn't know this world. I knew what was going to happen. Like I've heard stories and like I know how things work around here.
Mm-hmm.
So what is a social security number? How do you get it? How do you file your taxes? Those things, like very basic things. I knew like how to do those things and how
Hmm.
do things go around and work over here.
Hmm.
So I knew all of that. So it was not big of a learning like shock, but of course when you're hearing things and getting and doing them is totally different things.
Hmm.
So yeah, and over here in India, like your mom, your your maid, all those people they work more like they work for you. Like
Hmm.
your mom cooks for you, your maid
Yes.
your maid or someone cleans for you, your room for you or that things. But over here you have to do your own laundry, you have to cook for you and you have to clean for you. It's a very
Hmm.
different thing. And upon that you have to work, you have to study.
Hmm.
So it's a very different thing.
Hmm.
Something you're
Yeah.
not
So.
accustomed to.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're independent right from the beginning itself, then it won't matter.
True.
Otherwise, it would take a while for you to get
Yeah.
accustomed.
Even in India, like right since from very young age, like I used to do my own laundry and clean my own restrooms
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so washing my own dishes. So that was my thing. Like my family inherited on me, but there was my roommates. They hadn't done it before, so it was a
Okay.
like daunting task for them.
Okay. So now this is the last question.
Hmm.
Okay. So I would like to give you a message for all the aspiring students who are preparing to do the MS in the US. So what are like the few things that you are going to tell them? So most of our audience is going to be sophomores.
Hmm.
So what they are supposed to do in order to get into the US for pursuing the MS program?
My message would be come with an aspiration,
Hmm.
but don't come with a dream.
Hmm.
Like don't think this is a utopia where all your problems would be solved.
Exactly.
You have a different set of problems over here. Just
Hmm.
be ready to face those.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. This is
It's
extremely true.
like people think that all your problems will be solved and you will become a whole different person and you'll you'll be riding the best cars and no, it doesn't work
Hmm.
that way. You'll have to hustle. You'll have to hustle more than you did in India. You'll have to
Hmm.
put you'll have to put in 16 hours a day to what you
Oh
want. Yeah,
my God.
8 hours to studying and maybe 8 hours to working, and you'll have to go crazy of what you want to do about.
Hmm. Yeah, people are kind of, fascinated by all of these movies, and they think that the great American dream is
Oh yeah,
something that is going to completely wipe off their past and make them a completely new person. But that really doesn't like happen. And the main thing that not just from you, but from many people I've heard
hmm,
that we don't value the things the way they are. So while in India, all the people are going to cuss about the things that they have, but when they go to US, definitely there might be some improvements in some areas where India still lacks, but doesn't mean that India is completely bad. And the way people are cussing India, apparently, I see many students. So they are like, अरे हमें इंडिया छोड़ के जाना है, we have to go to US. and we will live our great American dream. But that doesn't really happen. And these are all the people, I would say, who just waste their time. They don't do anything. Okay, so they are like just couch potatoes, but they think that they won't be couch potato in the US. Like there will be something different.
I would like to wholeheartedly welcome them. I want to see more people waste their parents 40 or 60 lakhs, go under debt. I think these kinds of people should go under debt, and they should know,
Mm,
that life should hit them hard, and they should know what US is. Maybe a
yes.
different culture would teach them, it's not all jokes.
Mm.
People
And
think
in
it's all,
fact,
yeah.
I would
Sorry.
actually even like to say this, that in India, even if you fall, there are someone or the other who is going to hold you.
True.
Any relative, a long distance friend, or some childhood friend, and someone or the other is going to support you. I don't think in the US, if you don't build a circle, it's going to be very difficult because you are in a new country. Okay, you aren't born over there, you are an immigrant. So that the life is going to be hard, but people really don't get it.
People say that in India, setting ke bina kaam nahi chalta. Like without
Hmm.
references, and that the things don't work. I'll
Hmm.
tell you, in India, at least you can get a job after engineering degree without any, the references. You can
Hmm.
at least get into TCS, right? At least you'll get that 3 lakh or 3.5 lakh package.
Yes. Yes.
Worst case,
Hmm.
over here in US, you won't get one single job. Like one, you won't even get
Oh.
an internship. Forget job. You won't even get an internship
Hmm.
without reference. Be it your professor, be it someone you know personally, someone
Hmm.
has to recommend you to get you into a job.
Oh.
Forget it. Without that, it's not gonna happen.
And all this time, I actually thought that the skills are going to come into picture.
Skills. Everyone has skills. There are so many skilled people in US.
Hmm.
Even in US, there is no short of skilled labor.
Yes.
It's more valued, but there's no shortage of it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Yes, and
So
the reference might actually come into picture because if
it
you're.
might, it might, yeah, it might get you into a meeting. It might get
Hmm.
into an interview, but it doesn't mean that you, without the skills, you might pass the interview. So first
Hmm.
thing you need a reference to get an interview, and then that's when your skill set comes in.
Oh.
Like if you don't have skills, it doesn't matter if you get an interview or not. Like even if you
Hmm.
get an interview, I don't have skills. So what I'm going to do in the interview?
Hmm.
Bloody hell, that guy won't refer me next time. That he doesn't know anything. He's a, he's a fool. Why should I refer him?
Hmm. I would actually like to thank you for this podcast. Why? Because this wasn't a typical conversation. Like you were actually even exposing some of the stereotypical behavior of Indians. And apart from that, you were also highlighting some of the intricate details of living in the US. So it is not all bed of roses the way the people
True,
believe. It is
true.
completely different. So
It's very different.
if your mind isn't prepared to bear the repercussions, people are going to suffer. Because if you have everything glorious in your mind, you might fall. So that was the
100%.
best thing about this podcast, I would definitely say. Yeah, so thank you for it. Definitely, I would like to thank you for sparing your time.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. I had a
Hmm.
really good time, and yeah.
Yeah, so a note for audience. So I'll link Chintan's profile in the description box, or LinkedIn profile. And there will be also timestamps related to this YouTube video if you like to listen to the audio versions. So the links of the Spotify and Anchor will be also in the description box down below. Okay, so this is for this episode. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Also, if anyone wants to reach out and if they have questions, they can text me or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever they want to reach me out. It's fine. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just putting it
Yes,
out there. I'll
I'll
be glad
link
to
all your
help if anyone
profiles.
wants to hear it. Sure.
Yes, definitely. I'll link your profile.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.